Hello, this is Tony Doukas from Tony Doukas Racing, TDR Tech Talk today. I'll do another short little video on crankshafts. I was speaking with a customer today about crankshaft separation. Typically, that's usually when the left or the mag side web starts to separate and you have a larger gap at the lower end of the rod bearing where the web has actually moved away from the connecting rod and split open a little bit. Usually what happens is, I'll give you a demonstration of exactly what happens. Typically, mostly happens in drag racing applications. You have to remember that when you're sitting at a stop, the rear wheels are not turning. When you dump the clutch and you don't have a lockup, I should say, or when you have a lockup clutch but not set up as a slider clutch, what happens is the initial shock comes right up through the chain, through the transmission, through the drivetrain, hits the right-hand side of the crankshaft. You have to remember you're spinning the crankshaft at around 10 or 11,000 RPM, sometimes more. The rear wheels are not turning, and they are connected directly to the crankshaft as soon as you lock that clutch up. So that means that the left-hand side of the crankshaft with the big heavy flywheel on it is still trying to turn, whereas the right side is actually locked up. In other words, it's not moving because the tires are not turning. It has to break those tires loose, typically in VHT. That creates a twisting, torsional load and the twisting right through the crankshaft, and it actually will twist the magneto side out of true, and then you will make your pass down the racetrack. You'll come back, you'll do 4 or 5 or 6 more. It slowly works its way 6 or 7 thousandths out of true. That vibration will slowly walk that crankshaft end off of the pin, breaking the welds and move it out. If you set your drive line, is typically the lockups that we use in drag racing, if you set your drive line clutch up to slide or to slip on initial launch, your 30-foot times, your 60-foot times will start dropping and your ETs will drop. Also, it will stop with the separation on the magneto side of the crankshaft. What I typically did was to create, if you notice, a lot of the top fuel dragsters have a white line painted on the side of the tire. They take a video of that, watch it as the clutch starts to lock up, the tire starts to spin more. That way they can view that white line on the tire and what it is doing, meaning if it's spinning more than it should. There's a perfect combination of traction and a very slight spin of the tire will give you the perfect 60-foot launch time. That is what you want to do. Done many setups on drag bikes that went to the 1/8 mile drag strips with the VHT. Once I perfected and dialed in their slipper clutches, the crankshaft web would not break the weld anymore, would not separate, and all the crankshaft issues went away. I'll be covering a little bit more on this later. I will go back through and eventually do complete segments on clutch stack, clutch height, all the different slipper clutches, slider clutches, how to set them all up. That is the most critical point on a drag strip setup, as well as weight transfer.